all my life. Dad told me I'd find you here. He told me you quit dancing, too. What, you don't talk anymore? You see, I can't figure out if you're still not talking to me or you're just not talking at all. Blink once if you're not talking to me, and blink.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the director of the festival. We've been chatting online. I've got Antonio Polk here. He's new to the festival this year.
Yeah, hi, how are you? You're Claire?
Yes, yeah.
How you doing, Claire? Good to meet you.
I'm good.
As he said,
yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, as he said, my name is Antonio Polk. I am on the panel of the Door County Film Festival. Probably a fellow actor as well as a producer and such. So good to meet you.
Cool, good to meet you.
Yeah, we're excited to talk about this. This is one that really stood out while we're kind of going through the films this year.
Oh, cool.
So
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about where it came from.
Yeah, so the film Kind Mother, I would say the kind of seed of the project was, for a long time, I was really interested in the premise of two characters who had been estranged for a long time, meeting again for the first time after their estrangement, specifically at a silent retreat where there was a limitation placed on their communication so that they couldn't, they had, in the case of these characters, many years of kind of frustration and things that they needed to say to one another, but they couldn't say it with words. So it was fun to play in the script with figuring out nonverbal communication styles for the scenes where that happens. And I would say the other thing that I was really interested in is kind of this concept of as humans feeling like we can have, a power over one another, or that someone can have a power over us that feels like it's big enough to move planets, which happens in my film. There's a moment where something like that happens. Yeah. And just kind of an interest in sort of that, whether or not it's quote unquote real, it still can be this very strong feeling that there's certain people who have such a profound effect on us that it feels like they have that kind of metaphysical power over us. So it was kind of those two concepts married together was the spark for the script.
Yeah. And is it also like the power that you can stop somebody and do your own thing, like say what you want to say, but not, and you can stop time? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think those moments, it was, I think it did allow the characters an opportunity to have a moment where they could finally express what they weren't able to say when the timeline was moving in normal world. So yeah, that was really fun it was fun to shoot those moments too on set, just from a technical perspective.
Wow. What did you shoot the film at? Did you shoot it in LA? Where are you located right now? In Los
so I
Angeles?
live in LA. I'm in Seattle right now. I'm at my parents' house for Christmas. You can probably hear the wind is blowing. We're having a big rainstorm.
No.
I live in LA. We shot in LA, specifically in Topanga Canyon. Which was great because it kind of has a look where it could be, you're not really sure where it is. And I knew I didn't want it to look like it was clearly in LA or in California. So Topanga kind of gave us a good, nondescript wooded area to shoot.
Yeah, nice. The other actress who played your mother, is she local talent out there or?
Yeah, so Kristen Carey, she's phenomenal. And to be honest with you, I think we really only were lucky enough to get her for this because we shot during the strikes, the SAG strike and the writer's strike. And we shot under an unstruck contract. So we got the go ahead from SAG. But at the time, I think a lot of people were not working who normally work constantly. And Kristen is one of those actresses. She's just, once you've seen her face, I've had a lot of friends who have seen her in Kind Mother, and now they're like, oh my gosh, she's everywhere. She's you turn on Netflix and she's in like half the shows. And she just has one of those, you know, she's a working actress. She works constantly. And she was, we just found her through a casting call that I put up online, and we had, as you always do, tons and tons of submissions of people who were interested. And we ended up doing a callback with her, and eventually cast her, and it worked out wonderfully.
So both of you guys are SAG actors?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Just out of curiosity, how long have you been a part of the union?
I think I joined in 2016.
Oh, okay.
2016 or 2017. So yeah, coming up on a decade for me.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, and this is your first directing?
Yeah, this is my first time directing. I have done, I went to school actually for drawing and painting and also fiction writing. So I do have a writing background, but not really screenwriting. So this is actually the first screenplay I've written, and also the first time that I've directed. But acting I've been doing for a long time, for probably like 12 years professionally at this point.
Yeah. Can you getting into the story itself?
Yeah.
Can you kind of talk about the Buddhism part that you had in your director's statement? I was really intrigued by that. I like that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody ever asked me about that, so thank you.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, I think people are always like, "Ooh, that's a little weird." So Buddhism has been a big part of my life for the last 10 plus years. And there's this concept that I think I heard about it in a Dharma talk, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, and I've just been so obsessed with it that every living being who you meet has at one point been your mother in the past. And that's, of course, from the perspective of reincarnation. That if you've been, you've had countless goes around in this world, at some point, every single person you meet has at one point been your mother. And vice versa. You've been their mother, you've been their sister, they've been your sister, you've been their, like, everything. And it's kind of mind-blowing, whether or not you believe that it's real. It's even just as a thought experiment, it's kind of a fascinating thing to consider. And so it was something that was definitely really, I guess, top of mind for me in terms of my own like meditation practice. And so I knew that I wanted to try to incorporate that in some way into the script. And that's actually why I ended up making it a mother-daughter story. Because like I mentioned, the seed of the story, I loved the idea of 2 estranged characters, but I didn't know who those characters were going to be. I knew I wanted to cast myself, so that, that limited it a little bit. Like, at least we know one of the characters is going to be a young female. But it was actually that Buddhist concept of the, everyone's been your mother that made it click for me that, oh, how interesting would it be if we have someone who is biologically someone's mother. And then we have kind of the end of the script, there's a little bit of a hint at a role reversal that maybe the daughter is having to mother her own mother, because the mom is not able to, do that, at least in this arrangement where she's the mom and my character is the daughter. It's been a very, tricky relationship for them. So yeah, it was a fun thing to play with, and it was cool to kind of get to show a little bit about, my own personal spirituality on the screen. But I do think that really at the heart of that concept, it's just that it's not actually a very religious idea. It's more that every single person, we can feel responsible for them as if we were their mother, and we can also feel grateful and gratitude towards them as if they were our mother. And the title of the film also came from that concept, that in a lot of the Buddhist, like the early teachings where they talk about that, the Mother Sutta is what it came from. It's often, the reference is specifically to one's kind mother and one's kind parents. And you hear kind mother, kind parents a lot. So that was actually what inspired the title for the film.
That's great. Off camera, that we were actually wondering about the title of, like,
Yeah, because we did kind of was having an off camera conversation about the title, and I was wondering where you came up with the title from, because there was a lot of nuances happening in the film as far as this kind mother. I mean, and ultimately, were you the kind mother? I mean, the mother's mother wasn't too kind, your mother wasn't too kind, and then you wasn't too kind until after you found out what was going on with your mom as far as her having cancer and such. But then at the end, you had this empathy and this compassion and so on and so forth. And I was trying to see if that is, just trying to figure out who exactly was the kind mother, because even though your mother, you grew up with a mother who wasn't too kind, she was trying to be kind in that particular moment. But then, then we had the nuance of you becoming kind yourself. So in actuality, who was the kind mother in this, and does that title play a role in that concept that was going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I think those are all great questions. I mean, I feel great with, it would be amazing if every viewer left the film kind of wondering that, of like, wait, who was the kind mother? Which again, I think from a certain kind of Buddhist perspective, the people, or whatever living being that comes into our lives that is really challenging for us can be seen as a kind teacher or a kind mother, because they are, our kind arbiter of all kinds of things that we have to develop in ourselves in order to learn how to have patience and compassion and all sorts of things. So I think the title can be interpreted from different ways. I think probably so a more staunch Buddhist, and I've had a few who have watched it, I think they see it as, the character who plays my mother in the film actually is my kind mother, because she's my kind benefactor of all sorts of patience and compassion and having to, have care and I think probably someone who watches it with more of a Western perspective, I probably would not see her character as kind. But yeah, I think it's a fun, thing to play around with, who is the kind mother.
Yeah. What's your objective as far as continually making films? Is this, being that this is your first film, do you see yourself making other films?
Yeah, I would love to. This was really, this was incredible. Again, I kind of took advantage because I had more time off from acting than I normally do because of the strikes. And so it was, in a way, it was an incredible, it was a very hard time in the industry, but it was also an incredible time for me to be able to have the time to focus on this full time. And I absolutely loved directing. I already knew that I loved writing, but the directing thing was kind of a new discovery. And I really hope I can keep directing, whether it's other people's work, my work. It's, once you have a taste of having that level of kind of creative control, and control's not quite the right word, but even just that level of sort of, where you have a hand in so many different elements, it's really...
You're probably looking for creative freedom.
Yes, yeah, right. Creative freedom,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which, as you know, as an actor, you have a lot less of that in most projects, so...
Well, I'm an actor, director, and producer as well myself. So I that's where I came up with this creative freedom from, because it does, when I directed my first piece, it was a whole different avenue in the business, and it just it felt more free as opposed to acting.
Right.
You just have this creative freedom where you can just direct a person to go in this direction or that direction. And without, you have the control, and I hate to use the word control too, but you do have the control of having the creative freedom. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. You got anything else?
I had something.
So this film was a 14-minute and something second piece.
Yeah.
When you make other films in the future, because now we have, back in my day, in the beginning of acting and such, there wasn't these platforms that we have now. We got Amazon, we got Tubi, we got a whole bunch of different platforms that you can possibly get distribution on if you make a longer piece and such. You ever thought about making something longer than 14 minutes and such when you do go into the other projects?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a feature sounds amazing. I would say that's definitely a long-term goal. I mentioned in college I studied fiction writing, and that was pretty specifically short fiction. My teacher there was primarily well, he also writes novels, but the classes that I mostly took from him were in short fiction, and that's really what kind of just made me so excited with short fiction. So in a way, I actually think, as a writer, I feel very confident saying that if you can tell a moving story in a short amount of time, that's actually more skillful than writing a novel's length, the same story. Obviously, they're two different beasts, but I really think that there's short stories out there that are absolute masterful pieces of art. And I kind of feel the same about filmmaking, I have to say. I love feature films, of course. I see lots of features, indie features especially. But I'm a little bit obsessed with short films, having done, about almost a year now of the film circuit with my short, and my boyfriend had a short a couple years ago, and we did the circuit. And so I've seen so many short films, and I'm just so jazzed about the short format. It's like, it kind of feels like it's its own genre in a way, because you have to be very economical with the storytelling. But when you see one that just really works and manages to have such a big emotional payoff and feel really moving, in whatever genre it is, my hat is off to those filmmakers. So I am happy with either. I'd be happy to make another short, or shorts, plural. But a feature also sounds amazing. I think the financing element of that is a little daunting, but there's ways.
Yeah, there is, and it's a shame that the business is kind of limited when it comes to possible distribution, when it comes to shorts and when it comes to features and such, and that's just an awful shame, because it seems like they would have the possibilities of getting distribution for a short. It would be just as promising as getting a distribution for a feature.
I would love for there to be like a network that just does short films.
I know. I think there was for
There
a
was
while.
one.
Right? Yeah. But I guess it didn't do well. But yeah, it's a real shame.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot what that network was, but that's what initially sparked my interest in doing short films as well. Then that network went away, and I was like, well, okay, there's no possibilities for distribution isn't abundant as it is for full-length features.
Yeah.
Another thing we looked at just before we came on here, you're racking up the awards with this thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is impressive to see. Like
Very much so.
I had to scroll the list a few times on my phone. So. Good job with that.
Yeah. It's been amazing. Honestly, it's been amazing. I did want to mention too, Door County, this is really personally special to me, because my great grandmother had a cabin on Lost Lake. Okay. And that's been in the family now for almost 100 years. It was in the 1920s. My parents got married in Door County. So I have a lot of family who lives there. So this is really, I was so excited when I saw that there was a Door County Film Festival, because it's, I can have so many family members hopefully go and attend. And I'm really going to try to be there myself. So we'll see.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm just so excited. I kind of, found you guys on Film Freeway, and yeah, very cool.
Yeah, well, we look forward to having you show up if you're able to at the festival. It was a very big deal last year, and the festival is growing. So we're just so honored to have to be showing your piece at our festival as well.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you. And it's cool you do interviews as well. Every festival is different, but it's really nice when a festival takes the time to do some more in-depth filmmaker stuff.
I've always thought, I mean, the whole point of this festival in the very beginning was to showcase the filmmaker.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously it's done through the films, but like, we want to get to know you too, like that, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and we do really hope that you can make it work in your schedule and come see us.
Yeah, my fingers are crossed, but at the very least, I know I will have a lot of family members there.
Gonna be representing, that's good.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'll keep you guys posted. And just very grateful to be involved. I can't wait to see the other films too that are in the lineup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't make it to the festival, we screen the films online as well for a week afterwards. So
I saw that.
Opportunity
Awesome.
to see the other movies.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Is it mostly shorts and less features, or are you guys pretty 50-50 or?
We have 4 features this year.
Okay.
Unfortunately, 2 of the features can't be shown online. Because of distribution and where they're at. So, but you know, like all of the as far as nobody's at this point denied us for the shorts. They'll all be online.
Okay. Cool. Well, that as I said, that's really what I'm super excited about right now. So I'm I'm very happy to watch a bunch of shorts.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's been my life for the last 17 years. It's been all short films. It's only been the last 3 years that we've had more than one feature.
Okay.
And we're trying to expand it more.
I think it was originally the Door County Short Film Festival.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
We're
okay. Cool.
Expanding and stuff now.
Yeah.
So.
Last year we actually dropped the short from our
Got
title.
it. Okay.
And,
yeah.
To get more features that would be interested in showing. So.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're not turning away from the shorts. That's our bread and butter. That's what everybody talks to me about in the off season.
Right. Yeah.
You talked about. Do you have something coming up that you're working on that you want to talk about? Or?
Yeah. Well, I have a script that. Well, okay. So in the meantime, I recently produced a music video for an indie band, and that's actually, we're submitting that to festivals. We're going to try to go the festival routes, and so that they can have a festival premiere for that, and hopefully get the band some attention. And then I have a couple other kind of small producing things in the works, which producing is something I think I'm good at. It's not necessarily the thing I enjoy the most, but it definitely uses a lot of my kind of organizational skills. And then I have a short script that is in development, as they say. I think that one is a bit more comedic than Kind Mother, but some of the themes are similar. It's drawing a little bit more from my dance background, which was something we didn't talk about, but like my character, I do have a background in ballet. Nice. So that will be another one that interestingly will have not a lot of dialogue, but for a different reason, just because a lot of it is dance and more kinetic. And then I do have some ideas for features, because that's definitely, people, as soon as you make a short, somebody asks you when you're making a feature. So it's something I've been thinking a lot about, and have some ideas that I'm developing. And we'll see. Then in the meantime, hopefully acting gigs in other wonderful, I've met so many cool indie directors just on the circuit. And so I'm really excited for those collaborations, just even as an actor, because I feel like I've seen such great films, and it would be an honor to be in those directors' pieces as an actor. So a lot of stuff.
So your objective is to always, when you do make future films, you plan on putting yourself always in your own projects?
At least for now. I mean, it is just so hard to get cast as an actor that I feel like I owe it to myself to cast myself when I can. But maybe not forever. It definitely, I mean, that was a challenge with Kind Mother for sure, was just the being in the scene and then hopping around, and but I enjoyed it in a way. That part, the acting, was I don't want to say it was an afterthought, but I knew as I was writing the character exactly who the character was, and I'd sort of lived with and almost in that character for such a long time that by the time we shot, that part was just required less of my brain bandwidth than the other things that I was less, there was we have a lot of visual effects in the film. So that was something like we definitely had to take our time. There's the scene where my character runs up the wall onto the ceiling. That was an expensive shot. So there were other things that I had to like really, I felt like my brain was going to explode. Whereas the acting came very naturally. And I was lucky that in directing the other actress, Kristen, she was a dream to work with, and we had kind of one, not rehearsal, but we sort of walked through the script together, and she had decided to do the project because she really connected on a personal level with the script, with her own, life and her own mother. And so she like immediately understood who this character was. And she brought things that I hadn't even thought of to the character. But I was lucky that she was a real pro. So they kind of directed.
Your chemistry was really something else. Both of you guys working together, your on-camera chemistry was very spot on and very natural. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it felt that way. I mean, I feel very lucky that happened, because certainly, we shot this in 2.5 days. So this was fast. We were really like, wow. we had like a 20-person crew. It was important to me. We paid everybody, but we could only pay them for 2.5 days. So It was really, we were moving like really fast. So some of the takes that you see in the film, that was our one take, or we had that and a safety, and and sometimes we're seeing the safety is what made it into the final edit. But it was really just lucky that we gelled very quickly. And my assistant director would have killed me if I had watched playback as much as I wanted to. So I also had to be very trusting of her when we would, get one, and she'd be like, "We got it," and I had to be like, "Okay, we got it," even though I wanted to watch my own performance and critique it. But that also made it easier in the editing room too, because it was you're not going through like 15 takes and having to decide, what's the best one. And it kind of, in a way, it focuses you and limits you, because you're like, all right, this was the only usable one. That's the one that's going in the edit. Yeah. And my boyfriend, Jeff, was actually the editor. So that was great, because, I was able to, great for me. I think a lot of work for him, because I was like, all right, it's 1 a.m. Hey, I had an idea for this scene. The work kind of never stopped. But it was, I think both of us enjoyed doing the edit and just kind of crafting the film from that standpoint.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I liked how, speaking of like just the one take or the few takes, a lot of the times when you did the you stop and you like had the and then you stop and you like had the and then you brought it back. It almost looked like that was very continuity like driven, like that actually. You look like that's where you were before.
Well, I'm proud to say I think I actually did all my own freezes. Okay. So that was like definitely my dance background helped me. So those were continuous takes, but for like Kristen's freezes, and she had more difficult physical positions to hold, so it was understandable that we needed to use our visual effects coordinator and editor for that. But I was really proud of how the visual effects turned out, just how natural they seemed. And that was my goal, was that they felt kind of low key, like almost there was a nonchalance to them. I didn't want it to be like, and now a special effect and, really big. Like it was just, I wanted it to be like, wait, did that did she really just, just all these things. 'Cause it felt, that's kind of just more my aesthetic, I guess, with, I love that in films when we see, these kind of weird things happening. You're like, did that really happen? Did I blink and I missed something? So that's good to hear. That's a compliment that it seemed like continuous takes to you.
Yeah. And that did stand out, like where like, I didn't know this was a fantasy piece, like I always wanted to rewind it a little bit and like, but no, I like that aspect of it. Just like,
Yeah, they're
You
very
think you're
interesting.
watching just a straight up drama of,
Yeah.
mother and daughter and all this stuff. And then you get up and walk up I loved it. That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
Very,
you.
very
Yeah,
original.
we were lucky. Our visual effects coordinator, Chris Schwab, is amazing. And his full-time job is he works for a VFX house. And because he's friends with me and my boyfriend, we were lucky, to have him help. But he was just he went above and beyond with so many things. Like that shot where I run up the ceiling, we had to shoot, we got a clean plate of me. We got a clean plate of the ceiling, like where the wall meets the ceiling. And then we had a bunch of takes where the camera is above me and I'm like just running on a green floor and on a green wedge that's the same proportion, like in the same angle as how the wall met the ceiling. And then we took that image and superimposed it. So there was a lot of like measuring and all these things where it was just like, this is not like math is not my strong suit, none of this. So Chris, who was our VFX coordinator, he was like, just, I don't know. I feel like he was the linchpin in this whole thing because those shots would have just been horrible if we couldn't have pulled them off. And he did everything from building the wedge that we needed to replicate that angle of the wall meeting the ceiling to doing hundreds of tests on his own time that he would send me of like, here's what it would look like if the moon moves this much, and does this moon look good? And so that was, all of that. It's like I hardly feel like I can take credit for that because it was such a collaborative team effort for those shots, especially with Chris, our VFX genius.
Nice.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, that's about the time we have. I'd love to keep talking, but good job on this film. I know the audience is going to love this one. I
Cool.
can't wait to see how people react to it.
Looking forward to having this film in our festival, and hopefully you can make it out. And thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah, I hope so too. And thank you so much. It's an honor to screen with you guys. So thank you so much.
Wonderful.